thank you for joining us on Journalist Hangout on Sunday. I'm Ayodele Uzubakun. Today on the program, Senate probes former President Buhari's airport concession, advocates stakeholders' involvement, doctors want 550% salary increase over fuel subsidy removal, threatens strike, and later on the show, Mesoma Ejikeme confirms to a number panel that she failed JAD results as Obi Ezekwesili urges parents to help ensure examination integrity. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Adiwale Adeoye. If you're ready, let the hangout start now. Okay, this is not funny, but let's begin with the craze for Guinness World Records by Nigerians after the feats of celebrity chef Yoda Bassi. A 3-day kissing marathon tagged Kiss a Ton was scheduled to hold from 7th to 10th of July in Ekiti to break the Guinness World Records for the longest kissing. But the state government has banned staging and hosting of such events in the states. The state government, through the state's director of tourism, Adebanji Adelusi, warned against it and described it as absurd and immoral. Julie, what is this about?
You know, Nigerians and the copycat syndrome. Since Yoda Bassi attempted and succeeded in breaking the longest cooking marathon, people have been coming up with all ideas of their own. We've seen other people to try to break Hilda's record without following the procedure. You must first notify Guinness. Guinness will be aware that you are on a mission to break a record, and they will send their people. If you do not have that certification, that all clear from Guinness, you are wasting your time.
So all these 120 recorded 120 hours and everything.
They have to first clear you that yes, we are aware,
we are with you,
that you are on this mission.
Yes,
and then
the monitor
you go ahead. You get you get that validation in written form.
Yes, I think after she broke that record, it took like 2-3 weeks.
They were looking at that is different. I'm saying that before you even embark on the
okay.
Guinness must give you the clearance to proceed.
Yes, okay.
Yes. In our own case, I guess they were looking, and you find that you described that eventually they deducted some of the hours because, according to them, she broke some of the rules. So they were checking those. There were people who break records and instantly they get that certification. But in her case, they had to look at the evidence again and discover that she actually made some mistakes, and they deducted from the time that
before they certified her.
Yes, that was why it took them some time. Guinness is not a backstreet organization that people will just get up and say, okay, I'm going to. They have to give you that go ahead. And in giving you the go ahead, the stipulations will be made clear to you. You know what you are up against, what you need to do, what you do not need to do. So, in this case, people just on their own just waking up and say, oh, I want to break world record for the person who can drink water the most, all kinds of funny things. Now, it goes completely against our culture, some of what these people are proposing. You can imagine in Ekiti, a conservative state like Ekiti, people coming, where you still see people, hold culture and upbringing.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe you saw the picture of the governor.
Yes.
Prostrated.
Yes, just, that there are people who oppose that because they will say,
the beauty of our culture.
The repository of the respect of a state resides in the governor. I'm telling you that some people will tell him that, no, you can't do that. You can do it in private, but to prostrate like that in public,
Shows how humble.
Asiwaju once did it now.
Shows how humble.
Asiwaju once did the same thing for one of those Baba Sinedis, and he was told that no, the repository of the respect of a state resides in you as governor. You can't do that in public. So I'm not opposing what the governor has done. This is just my opinion.
Says a lot
but I'm saying
government.
that Ekiti, a conservative state where people still value tradition and good upbringing very well, and you see people planning to hold a kissing marathon. I mean, it makes no sense. Somebody woke up in Cameroon and said she wanted to do 200 hours of sex and that people should line up.
Animal.
You know, so beasts are taking over the landscape. When I posted it, I wanted people to see the extent to which we have degenerated. But the usual people always abusing me. They said, "Oh, stupid journalists, this is what you are posting." You see, they don't even get why I'm posting such a thing. And look, where are we going? It's not, when you post something as a journalist, it doesn't mean that you support it. So people don't get it, you know. But I'm happy that the state responded promptly. This is the right thing to do. Honestly, we have to.
Well, it's your state.
Well, I'm totally in agreement with my colleague, because our culture is the only immunity we have against colonialism and globalization. So we cannot say that because certain things happen in Europe, then we must do the same thing here. Our objective conditions, our values, our cultures are different. And I think even every country recognizes that. So for me, I think irrespective of how celebrated the Guinness Book of Record is, it does not mean that everything that it does, we must swallow it. Yes. So I was quite glad what the governor did. And the question you ask yourself, what message are you passing on to younger people? It is a place that I don't think you ever see a couple kissing on the street. Even there are people who marry, they never ever kiss their wives throughout their lifetime. Yes, they don't do it. They don't do it. Even on marriage day, they don't kiss.
They don't kiss.
So you now say you are now being salute. So
throughout their lifetime,
it doesn't happen.
They don't know about kissing.
They don't know about kissing.
It's not our culture.
It's not that, So and also there are health implications, because when I was going through past editions of Guinness World Record kissing marathon, the record holder is 50 hours and 25 minutes. Then every time that they had this kissing marathon, there's always near casualty. In Israel when they did it, so a couple, they have to be resuscitated then with oxygen, because even when you are going to toilet, people have to follow you. You have to stay glued for several hours. You ask yourself, for what what kind of thing are you teaching younger people in Africa about kissing and now get a prize for kissing? So I think it's totally odd. I never saw my father and wife, my mother kiss. Never happened. I never, I didn't notice anything like that. So you now elevate it to a standard for younger people. So I think the governor should be commended. He didn't even think twice. He just banned it and threatened them, with a jail term. So he should be commended. I don't think any state out of the 30 states should tolerate this kind of thing. So I'm glad that the governor did the right thing.
I think those itching to break the record of Hilda Bassi, they should think twice that there's a procedure and everything. Because one other girl at Ekiti, even people are, the way people are taking it, and Ekiti, after the one of Ekiti, there's another one now, still in that same Ekiti state that is cooking. The thing is ongoing now, should have passed the 100 hours mark by this weekend. She's still cooking.
Some are saying that they are not even out to break the record. They just want to draw attention to themselves. They want to become popular. Just because what is the point in spending your resources, wasting your energy? At the end of the day, nobody will consider you for a record. So maybe some of them just want to draw attention to themselves. In this age of social media, in an instant, you can become extremely popular. So, and with that, all kinds of benefits will come your way. You know, about 8 months ago, 6 months ago, nobody knew Hilda. She was just the regular chef, another girl, you know. But today, she is famous globally. So I'm sure some people too want to be like her. But they must follow the right procedure. Guinness has had to write last week that, look, this is our advice to all of you trying to break one Guinness record or another. This is the procedure.
Nigerians.
This is the procedure. Don't just embark on something that can take your life. You know? So I think it's a sex thing that really threw me into a daze. How can anybody in Africa, Cameroon, think of that? And he's even asking for support. You know, so so should we by changing men? I don't even know how they intend to do it. Maybe there will be a long list. I mean, or a long queue. You know, like people trying to get into a stadium.
She'll survive the onslaught.
She's going to die now. There's no way you can do 200 hours. People will go and take all kinds of aphrodisiacs, Giacomo, all of them, all those funny herbs laced with alcohol that people take when they want to impress women.
All right, the rainy season is here, and the danger of flooding stares us in the face once again. In Katsina State, 10 persons were reportedly killed and more than 200 houses destroyed in Katsina, the state capital, and Bindawa local government area of the state, following a downpour that overwhelmed buildings and roads. Residents of the affected area blame poor drainage system for the devastation. Meanwhile, the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, says 14 states out of 31 communities across the country will witness heavy rainfall that may lead to flooding from the 4th to the 8th of July. This is July. And you remember last year, it was really terrible.
You know, before, the kind of flooding that we saw last year, the last time we saw it was about 10 years ago. Given the fact that man has not changed his ways, global warming has been blamed on our activities, indiscriminate felling of trees and all that. They are making it easy for flood to take over our communities. And man has not changed his ways. Global warming has not decreased. So the kind of calamities that happen once in a while, if we are not careful, every rainy season, we are going to be going through it.
This is what happened last year.
Yes. And you know, many people are yet to recover.
Yes.
Hundreds of thousands of Nigerians lost their lives to floods last year. So you can imagine if it happens on that scale again this year.
We've not done anything different.
Yes,
we are not prepared for it.
We don't. You see, the problem when something happens,
yes,
we just take some
set of the committee
and then go.
Why you can see buildings submerged.
That is what the Senate is saying, that what is being done.
To make sure what happened last year.
This warning was first issued well over a month ago, at least that I read it. So what is being done?
Really short.
What is being done when you go to states like Delta, Bayelsa, you see this thing lasted for
graveyards. We went to graveyard.
People lost their farmlands. Even one of the biggest Olam, one of the biggest rice makers in Nigeria, they lost so many of their farmlands in Nasarawa and other places. So we don't expect the sort of thing that happened last year to happen again. But since we didn't really take concrete steps last year, we are just at the mercy of the floods again this year. And we have seen what happened in Katsina. Who knows where it will happen again?
Wally, we don't learn. We don't learn. The committee was set up by the federal government last year, and the committee, the report and everything, I don't know what we made of it, but I can tell you that
it's a very unfortunate development. We understand some 10 people were killed, including an infant, and about 200 houses in Katsina. And I think all the 34 local governments are vulnerable. It's not just Katsina City alone. We have been talking about this problem for many years. In fact, several reports, research shows that in Katsina alone, they lose about half a kilometer every year to desertification. And this leads to, decline in soil fertility, it leads to soil erosion, and disrupt the ecosystem. Unfortunately, year in, year out, we are doing nothing. As far back as 2007, the EU adopted several beautiful programs. They call it the Great Green Wall project, that they want to save the incursion of the Sahara in the Sahel. But nothing has been done. Even Katsina State government has called several meetings of experts. They made recommendations that each house will plant trees, because trees are natural windbreakers.
Yeah.
But, this thing will come and then destroy lives and property. We go on again. The following year is going to happen again. So I think we need to we need to look at our policy on the environment, because the desert is encroaching, at a very rapid, rate. And we see what other countries are doing all over the world. There is massive planting of trees. It's a very serious problem that people take very seriously, But here we don't do anything. And when we are talking about Katsina, it's not just Katsina alone. After some time, what happens there will affect us. What has happened in Katsina now will affect agricultural productivity in that state. Katsina is the greatest producer of cotton. All these things will be affected. So the livelihood of the people is at stake. So we need a comprehensive, solution to this problem. If not, it's going to, we are going to be at the mercy of flooding every year.
Even Lagos is not even exempted, because when you get to the peak of this July, August, witness the this kind of trend to some areas.
Lagos, once it's raining, it is sadness for many people. Normally, rains portend blessings from the Most High. But in some parts of Lagos, they are thrown into bitterness, they are thrown into frustration, they are thrown into a high level of unhappiness. Because once it begins to rain,
sweeping water out of,
because they know that it will take over their buildings and all that. And it may even lead to relocation. Those people in areas close to Ikorodu, all of those, 12. Yes, and what do they call Agility? It's a yearly affair that they have to be relocated. So for such people, when people jubilate about rains, it's not what makes them happy, So Lagos has to continue to do its best. The advantage that Lagos has is that when it rains, it doesn't take so long before the water sinks into the soil.
30 minutes.
But
the big channels.
Lagos needs to do something about the drains. Probably a new drainage architecture that will make the drains wider and all that. If you go to Allen Avenue when it's raining, you see what I'm talking about. The volume of water that spills onto the road. Yes, it spills onto the road, and it's also one reason roads don't last.
Yes.
Because the excessive rainfall and the fact that the roads get flooded most of the time damages the road. So Lagos has to keep working. And then I was on my way back from the village and I saw this bridge over Ashejire. The bridge over Ashejire. Already the water level, you know there's a dam there.
Yes.
The water level was already very high. And I'm like, the way it's going, they may have to open that dam. Every year when they open the Onyo Dam, people in Akute, people in the Shashi, all of those, they suffer for it because it will flood their roads and communities. The Sherry, all the way to Agility, all of those places. Even around Kara here, you see those places flooded. So, but if they do not open the dam gradually, if the dam breaks, it will take many lives. So it's something that they have to do every year. But there has to be synergy with both Lagos and Ogun government so that when this flooding, when you are about to open the dam, the states will have taken steps to relocate people and mitigate against the effect of the flooding that will take place.
All right. The banking sector continues to adjust and readjust to the demand of the cashless policy months after restriction on withdrawals on automated teller machines, ATMs. Commercial banks have raised the maximum amount of cash that customers can withdraw on a daily basis to 200,000 naira. In an email to customers, people can now withdraw cash of up to 200,000 naira per day as its ATM terminals across the country. Wale, is this a good news?
Well, I don't think the banks have any option because it's like when the earlier policy came on stream, they didn't do enough homework. Maybe that policy came for political reasons. Maybe it was due to political interference. I wouldn't know. Because when you say that people cannot withdraw more than 20,000 naira, then later 100,000 naira.
Even before the Emefiele thing,
yes,
we couldn't get as much as 200,000.
Yes, 200,000.
There had never been a time that we could get 200,000.
Yes. But I think now is a reflection of the reality that people are going through. Because if you go see what is going on, customers they face a lot of challenges, in the banking sector. If you go to the bank weekends, you want to take your money, sometimes you get your ATM stocked. There are wrong debits, exorbitant charges on your account, debit without cash, you put your ATM, they debit you, and then So I think there is poor feedback from banks, from customers. They are not addressing the challenges that people are raising. So I think just asking that, and it's coming up with this policy that people can withdraw 200,000 naira. I think the banking sector need to do more than that. There are major problems because even this 200,000 naira, I can tell you that it's not going to be available to many people. It's just one thing for you to make that policy. It's another thing
that all the banks will comply.
They tell you that you can't take more than, for the past few weeks, you can't take more than 40,000 naira. But you get there, you battle to be able to even get 20,000 in some banks. So I think the banking sector needs a lot of reform. It's not just about the government, the bank themselves. There are a lot of problems that customers are going through. And I think the banks need to address this problem. I know somebody who said they went to the bank right there. He wanted to collect money. He just noticed that, they were just debiting him almost 150,000 naira. And up to now, that problem is yet to be resolved. So, and there are so millions of Nigerians like that who are, if you go to the customer service care, you see complaints every day. You take 10,000 naira from you, 20,000 naira to get that money back is a problem. Since there's a need for reform that goes beyond mere just telling us we can take 200,000 naira or not,
Before the Emefiele onslaughts, I'll be after the Emefiele this cash problem. I had rarely go to the ATM because of the 10,000, 20,000 maximum draw limit. So I prefer to go to rather POS. Yes. So a POS person will give me lump sum, and
I wonder where we'll be without
those POS guys.
Yes, I wonder where we'll be because even in the interland, when you travel. People rely on them. A good number of our communities are semi-urban and rural communities have no banks. Have no banks. You can imagine a state like Zamfara. You can count the towns where they have banks. You know, the local government where they have banks on your fingertips. Very few. So now the POS have taken the place of banks. It's just that they are limited in terms of the services that they can render, but at least in terms of providing the cash that people need, they readily give you. And unlike the banks that will tell you you can withdraw across the counter more than so amount of money, the POS operators can give you a lot more than the banks.
Yes, so far they just have their own interest.
Now, my suspicion is that this step that Zenith Bank has spearheaded is meant to undercut the POS operators in a way. Yes, because when you tell people that they can't take beyond
40,000.
Yes, for the day.
For the day.
You know, there was a day I was at the airport. I said, there's no crowd there. I quickly took money. When I got to the town, I had forgotten that I took money from the ATM at the airport. I wanted to try it. I just saw that I kept telling me that, look,
you have exhausted your limit for the day.
So I then had that mental picture that, I took money a while ago. I just walked away. The POS operators ensure that you don't need to go through all those encumbrances. Now, allowing people to take up to 200,000, they've never given people that latitude. It means that you don't have to go to the POS operator when you need that much.
Yes.
So you can still take it via the
without them charging me anything.
In a way, they are trying to undercut those people. They've seen that Nigerians need their cash. There are business transactions that you have to do with cash, especially these small and medium scale enterprises, farmers in the rural areas. They need to use
physical cash.
Yeah, they need to use physical cash. A lot of them collapsed when Emefiele imposed that senseless policy on us. You know, I was speaking with a staff of one of the biggest banks in Abuja. I said, all his years in the bank, 20 years, he's been in operation. He said there was no time that he worked in a bank where the vault was empty. It was Asokoro, big branch in Asokoro. He said during the Emefiele nonsense that the vault did not have a single naira. He said people outside would not know that at a point they had to start locking their branches because of the threat of attack and all that. How do you tell people? You that you are a bank staff, you also need some money to give your own relatives. You don't have access to my money. Yes, who are in pains. So we just created
tomorrow. That is affecting us.
Yeah. Today, let me tell you today. New notes, those new notes. If you work in a bank and you have a party, maybe you need new notes and all that. They are still minting the old notes. It's those old notes that they will give you. Nobody will give you the Emefiele notes.
Yeah.
That means they are even not printing the Emefiele notes.
No.
It is the old notes, which is more durable and something that you can actually pick and be proud of it, that they are still printing. It's like they've made up their mind, let's not print this one again.
That one's like
just wasted money in the inordinate desire to stop an individual. Just wasted our time, cost people their lives. Look at Sagamu, for example, where they destroy banks. My person in Access Bank said they were watching the destruction right here in their Lagos headquarters, but they could not stop it. Those people stripped the bank of everything tangible, including even submersible pumps. They took everything away. Now they are suffering because those banks are not in a hurry to rebuild those branches. So if you want to do banking transactions, you will go to Ijebode, which would teach the people a lesson. But the people are pushed to the wall by Emefiele. sheer wickedness in industrial measure. That's what Emefiele visited on Nigerians. And I think that at some point, there has to be an inquisition. Somebody must pay for the nonsense that happened during that time. Totally valueless, something that had no contribution to the economy, no value to the economy. And we put our people through this pain. So somebody has to pay in the end, because you can't just make us suffer like this for nothing.
All right. The biting impacts of the rising inflation trend is making people scamper for cheaper alternatives to things. The hike in price of palm oil has prompted manufacturers to place order for 455,000 tons of palm oil, worth 241 billion naira. This is because local price of the produce is 55% higher than imported palm oil. Findings from the consumers and the market indicated that a liter of the commodity has gone up from 1,000 to 1,500 naira, while 20 liters sold for 19,500 is now 30,000 naira. Wale, palm oil.
It's a very unfortunate thing that even agricultural products that Nigeria was noted for, that grew up naturally, nobody planted them.
So the imported version.
Yes, it's now something that we need to start importing. I think from what we have read, since up to the 50s and 60s, Nigeria was top producer of palm oil. But we now have a situation where Malaysia and Indonesia,
they came to collect seed from us.
It was taken to Malaysia by the British around 1870. And now Malaysia is, how to bring palm oil into Nigeria. So it's a failure of agrarian policy of various governments. This one now has less to do with, the federal government alone. Also the state governments. There are national states like Edo State used to be the highest producer of palm oil. What has happened to Edo State, Ekiti State, Delta State? There are people used to produce palm oil in commercial quantity. So over the years, we have neglected, this aspect that will have, increased our foreign earning. Unfortunately, you discover that even while this is going on, we are importing all sorts of palm oil. Some of them are also not real. Some of them are fake. When you go to the market, you see a lot of palm oil brought in from different parts of the world, and you are not even sure whether they are good when you consume them. So we are in a very serious dilemma, if we cannot, commercialize what we produce on our own. So I think it's a reflection of the failures of government over the years. And as it is now, we are debating this problem. Now, what long plan do we have? Our government is going to sit down and say, because of this problem, we want, the next 5 years, we want to start planting, groundnut. They are not going to do it. I mean, the seed of palm oil, they are not going to do it. And if you look at palm oil that we are talking about, there are so many byproducts. You have, a lot of accessories that you can get from palm nuts, cream, fertilizer, feeds for animals. So it's not just the oil alone. It's full of it's a fertile, tree that a lot of things can be sourced from them. But unfortunately, we are practically not doing anything. I hope that this teaches us a lesson that we should have a long plan, short and long plan, so that in the next 10 years, this problem will not come up again.
How do you reconcile the fact that the imported ones are now more accepted than the ones we produce locally? Cheaper.
It's a tragedy. When you don't have a commodity in sufficient quantity, the price will go up. And once the price goes up, people will be looking for cheaper alternatives. And some of the alternatives from abroad are not of the quality of the ones that we produce locally. It's a Nigerian tragedy that Malaysia, that came to take palm fruit seeds or seedlings from us, is today the second highest producer of the of palm palm oil after Indonesia. And Indonesia produces 45,500 metric tons a year. Malaysia produces 19,200 metric tons. Thailand produces 3,260 metric tons. Colombia, 1,768 metric tons. Nigeria produces 1,400,000 metric tons. 1,400,000 metric tons. That's what we produce, compared to Indonesia, the biggest producer, at 45,500 metric tons. Look at the big difference. India is the biggest importer. From palm oil, you can produce things like lipstick, noodles, shampoo, ice cream, margarine, chocolate, cookies, soap, packaged bread, peanut butter, chips, pastries, baby formula, so many things. You know, even in
of these things.
Yes, you know that even in those the old days, they even used the stem itself to do bridges.
Yeah.
Because it's such a sturdy, very strong plant. And Nigeria, because of our tropical climate, we are best suited for the planting of palm oil. If Israel is blessed with the kind of arable land that Nigeria has, oh my God, or even Denmark, if they were blessed, just the way we've been blessed, you will see what they will have done with this gift that God has given Nigeria. I never knew that a day will come, because growing up, what we are hearing now, that they are importing palm oil, it was not the case. It's a recent development. I remember when I was in the news, and somebody wrote that story that they are beginning to bring processed palm oil into Nigeria. I didn't believe it. It was strange to us when that guy wrote the story. It was strange. We thought, this guy, where did you get this story? Today, if you go to some of the biggest department stores in Nigeria and Supra and the rest of them, you see imported palm oil. Enough. That is the level to which we have sunk. They said Lagos Port Complex took delivery of 66,400 tons from 8 vessels between April and August 2022. Just in a matter of a few months, 66,400 tons of imported palm oil. So that means with every passing day, our craving for imported palm oil is growing bigger and bigger. Those who are using it as raw material for the manufacturers who are using it, you can't blame them, because if the price that is going for in Nigeria is extremely high, they want to resort to cheaper alternatives. That's what they are doing, because you look at it, what you can get out of palm oil is tremendous. So it's raw material for a lot of companies. So they don't have a choice. They have to look for, because they are business to make money, they have to look for the cheaper alternative. And you and I know that those ones that they are bringing here, the cost of production over there, the fact that they have machinery that can mass produce ensures that they can send in something cheaper here. The other day, the governor of Ogun State was complaining about the Chinese going into a direct production. We open our eyes here and allow the Chinese to flood our market with adire again. In other places, even you protect those things that you can produce. You are capable to produce so much. You have to protect them. Do you know that in some of the best palm fruits in Nigeria are from the Mandula area? They are from Taraba. I saw. I didn't even know that in Taraba they grow rubber, they grow palm fruit, and their palm fruit, very short. I saw it. Somebody told me I was in the far north, palm fruit in the far north, but I saw it in Taraba. We have tremendous potential as a country. We are just, I don't understand what our problem is. To hear that we now import palm oil in this quantity is something that should trouble any Nigerian.
Well, even if you go to the market now to price palm oil,
Yeah.
very expensive.
It's expensive. You know, what we notice is that over time, we have been having people just produce for, there's no commercial production. I think the first major attempt was when the Western region established the Ekiti palm oil industry. That was 1968 by General Adebayo.
It's still working now?
It's not working. Over the years, nothing has happened. And when they started, it made a lot of impact. And started by a military government. But up till now, nothing has been done to uplift, that. So people cannot be producing for just for family consumption, and then you expect us to meet international standard. There is the need to realize that it's a real potential for job creation, so that government will put in a lot of industry, a lot of investment into it. Palm fruits these days, in those days, the old ones maybe for several years, 3 to 4 years, it will start bearing fruits. The modern ones that are produced, from different researches all over the world. So our government, when we are talking about development, we should realize that there are potentials here that we can harness. It's not every time we should be thinking of building bridges, building highways. Palm oil is there, just like you have said, with a lot of byproducts that can create jobs, that can make people to increase the local economy and also increase what we earn globally. So I don't know what our governments are doing, because this is a natural resource that we have the potential, we have the strength, we have everything. And what is happening these days is that people are destroying these palm trees. They want to set up farms for cashew or maize. They burn the whole thing down. Go to rural areas. Those things are no longer there. They just cut them down. Sometimes they cut this plant to use them for roofing. That's what they do. So they are destroying them all over. And government is not making any effort to stop this, merciless destruction of one of the most viable economic trees. So I think our government should do something, especially areas, tropical areas, like the southern states. Bayelsa, for instance, River State, Edo State. There's no excuse. You can make a lot of money for palm oil. We shouldn't be watching and allow other countries to,
when you are driving through Ekiti, you are going to Osun, you are going through Osun, trying to access Osun through Ilawe.
Yeah.
There is a town called Ogotun.
Yes, Ogotun.
Ogotun Ekiti. They produce palm oil in ample quantity. That is, a government can say, look, we have a palm fruit plan. This is our palm fruit plant. Make Ogotun Ekiti a hub for palm fruit production in the southwest, and you move resources, men and everything, equipment to that place. Energize the production in that Ogotun. Because whether we like it or not, they are also an oil producer in Batekoma. So that place will be a completely different town altogether, because investors will come in, even young people that would have been encouraged to farm, they too will come in and begin to grow palm fruit. It's a sad day for me as a person to hear that we are importing palm oil at all. Not to talk of the quantity that we are importing. We are number 5 producer in the world, but we are now helping others to grow their economies by bringing in something that we can produce even more than them. It's such a big shame.
And the market is here.
Of course, it's here. If it's not here, they won't be going abroad.
Every household.
Do you think is the process involved? Because from what I'm saying, I think the process, maybe we need to modernize it, because it looks so cumbersome the way our people do it.
What we have been doing is subsistence farming, as far as palm oil is concerned. We need to get banks, for instance, give loans to people to set up factories that can produce palm oil,
buy machines,
and then buy machines. And that's why when banks every year we declare excess profit and all that, we also realize that banks need to put a lot of funds into the attempt to industrialize Nigeria if we really want to ensure that we address the problem of unemployment.
All right. Policy somersaults in whatever guise continues to hinder the progress of Nigeria. The Senate has commenced investigation into all the federal airports put up for concession by former President Muhammadu Buhari's government. The upper legislative chamber condemned the process adopted and declared that the exercise was not done in public interest. Senators, in their various contributions, lamented lack of adequate involvement of critical stakeholders in the process that led to the concession of two major airports carried out at the tulip of the Buhari administration. Let's share the story with you.
Presenting a motion on the floor of the parliament, lawmaker representing Kano South, Senator Kalu, challenges the concession of the Aminu Kano International Airport. The lawmaker is worried about the rationale behind the concession, and he faults the Federal Executive Council under the Buhari administration for not carrying out its due diligence before granting its approval.
Disturbs that this concession is clearly dubious, and the rise question on the process and what the actors stand to gain. Recall that the unions in the aviation industry embark on strike to question the integrity of the concessioning exercise, stressing that the concessioning of the airport away from PAN will necessarily cause or halt the employment of the staff involuntarily.
This same view is shared by other lawmakers who felt the hasty decision taken in awarding the concession of other airports under the previous administration. They want President Tinubu to recall these contracts and provide a level playing field to all stakeholders.
To allow this executive recklessness to continue to undo this nation. Enough is enough. This contract needs to be, this concession needs to be investigated, and then urgently let's have a report. And anybody that is found wanting must be brought to justice.
But all concessions done hurriedly and without following due process should be thoroughly investigated, reversed, and actions taken about it. So let's do that consolidation.
Let's not throw the baby with bathwater. What we are calling for is due diligence to be applied. And once there's a transparent process, then we should allow concessioning to be.
The Senate is interested in revisiting the past with regards to the concessioning of airports by President Buhari's administration. A big question for the lawmakers is the legality of these concessions and even the timing. However, the ball is now in the court of President Tinubu to review the concession of the airports in a more accountable and transparent manner. Tijesu Adeoye, TVC News, Abuja.
The federal government seems to have so many things right on that plate, and we don't have business in managing most of these facilities, especially the airports. Look at how it's done all over the world. It's not a normal thing that the federal government should, keep holding on to these things. But when they want to do it, these people are complaining about the process of concessioning.
And if it's not transparent, they have every reason to complain. Nobody is saying don't concession. I am an advocate of build, operate, and transfer, because it even frees you the funds that are not even available if we get the private sector involved, But these are national assets. If you are to concession a national asset, the process has to be transparent. Let the bidding be made public in national dailies, so that everyone who feels that is qualified
must participate.
Will participate. You bid for it. That is what is called competitive bidding. Not bidding that is limited to your friends.
Friends and cronies.
People don't want to see that. No one is saying, government, they continue to run businesses. After all, look at Babalakin has been running that place for so long. Yes. And it's still properly run. The place is beautiful. When you get into it, you feel proud as a Nigerian. Up to now, whatever you have against Babalakin, you must. That airport. It's over 10 years now. He's done it. He's run it properly. So this is the thing. It's not about sentiment. But in doing this, you must make the feed level for everybody. Rushing to concession airports at the twilight of the administration and just announcing that, I know now. You don't expect people to keep quiet when that happens. You just announce to them that where is the process? You didn't show the process to anyone. I could be interested, for example, you could be interested. But you couldn't partake in the bidding process because it was not, you were not permitted to be able to get involved. So this is the quarrel of these people. I don't think any of them is against concession. No, we've seen concession work now. But let the process be transparent. It has to be published in national dailies. Once you do that, and the preferred bidder emerges, fine. But not doing that, believing that you own the country and just took a decision and you don't want people to complain. No, they will complain now. The person who just complained used to work for the president.
Like the airline that was easily put together, the last day of the administration, someone plane just landed at the airport and
I think a lot of things, went wrong the last days of the government. And I think in national interest, we should not sweep these issues under the carpet. The airports we are talking about, they are, apart from being critical assets, they are national assets. In fact, the Aminu Kano Airport is a national heritage. It's the first airport in Nigeria, built in 1936, about 110 years old.
1936?
Yes. So you can't just, so the airports have significant networking with national security. When you want to do concession, yes, you are free to do concession, but you must be conscious of who are the people buying those airports. Why was it very easy for Israel to invade Uganda in Entebbe raid? They built the airport. So you must realize that security, if you go and sell your airports to a country and then you run into conflict with that country and then your airport is in their hands. So that's why we are saying that if you want to concession airports, yes, you can do it, but you must take a lot of things into consideration. The MM2 yes, about the enabling environment, the legislative and policy framework must be right. So I think I'm in full support of the senators that they have to. It's not a wish hunting.
Take a second look at it.
It's not wish hunting, but we need to look at the process, the deal, whether they follow their diligence in the interest of Nigerians. You know, the NSC raised objections, I think some years back, and they even offered alternative that we can copy what is going on in Ethiopia, where there is some level of autonomy for the airports, their own equivalent of farm. And also they sold some shares to the public, to Ethiopians, while the federal government their own federal government is holding some aspects. And then in Ethiopia, they invited private investors to invest different types, invest in runway, infrastructure, equipment. But at the end of the day, it is the state that still controls, they have a leeway over controlling share. So I think what happened is a national disgrace. And I hope that this probe is not just headline. We need to reverse these decisions taken in the interest of Nigeria. If you are doing concession for 30 years, you are robbing the coming government of creativity. It means that in the next 30 years, they are at your mercy, whereas you are no longer the one in charge of the country.
Okay, joining us via Zoom for more discussion on this is an aviation analyst, Olumide Onwayo. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Afternoon.
Thank you, Olumide.
Olumide, do you think the concessioning of this airport is in order?
And that was in order. How? Or where? How can? The man was just to make it to pick the ball. Remember, even before the May 29 when they announced, May 24 when they announced that the airport had been concession. They already taken 100% as part of those things that achieved, even before announcing those who won the concession. So that shows you that something is organized. Did I rightly said just before I came on air that there's a need to just crash that concession and begin to take a look at what to do with the airport process. And for the Senate, we've seen them before. We've seen their approach in the past. I have no excitement about that. We want to ask them, those that led that committee, elected that committee, what did they do? Stop this man. The man was just a bully in China. We have provided the ground with him. And I don't envy the new minister. He's not going to keep the ground running. When you hit the ground running, it's going to fall. You need to see the ground stand, then take a look at what is happening. There's so many landmines at Honorable Senator led. And one of them is this airport concession we talked about.
Is there, what can we do at this stage? Has it passed a stage?
No, don't worry yourself. Don't worry yourself. Anybody that goes to those airports just looking his money. Is our money. You are just anybody that goes there or are giving him money for that for the airport for those airports. I can tell you with the union, with industry, those corporations, that is not touch this happen. Even the government sector. So we know the aviation unions are very strong, and often trying to do those industries work with them here and ensure that what is the right. You know, I'm just I was confirmed by El-Rufai, the former governor for Kaduna, when he was leader for federal capital, and when the Yar'Adua case reversed it immediately. So I think I expect the thing to happen. And for me, if you ask me, I am not a fan of concession. They are paying me from Katina. He has gone ahead to build the second runway at build another SCP in making the Katina airport. If was that competitive was a good issue, why did he start the concession with Katina airport? Why did he go to Kano? Why did he start with the Katina airport? I'm not a fan of concession. I want to see an airport management company, like the other analyst said, take over fund for the next 10 years, revamp, reshape, restructure fund, then prepare it as an airport company. And now viable and can invest in the Nigerian airport within Nigeria after Nigeria. And and sell to the public. But not company. You are taking Abuja away. You won't take Abuja, Lagos, and Kano and Port Harcourt. The Bible one. Yes, the same government collected Ebonyi airport the very day that airport was opened. It was handed over to the federal government, and the president is taking over. They take over it, and the government is bleeding. They are adding more. Within the last 3 weeks, before they left office, they handed over Ebonyi airport. They handed over Gombe airport. To France, the former MD was going to Gombe to go and take possession of that airport. On his return, it was removed. Now, they're planning to 2 weeks to about 10 days to be handed over. So they forget about that concession. Whoever has gone there just wasting the time. Thank God the Lagos not even there. It was already in court. So there's so many litigations waiting, agitation, and even like you said, the litigation on the Nigerian air. So there's so many fines waiting for the new minister to clear. And I think one of them is just concession.
Walk us through what happened with Nigerian Air, because some of us were too dazed to even attempt to make any sense of it. But it's your sector, so you know much more than we know.
I don't know much than I know. We were all dazed. We were all dazed that at the end of the day, after so much promises, taking the box and telling the Nigerians that the airline will fly, and the former president, even without doing his due diligence, also concluded that the airline was going to fly, and that was what we were told. Shockingly, what we saw was static display of the Nigerian airline logo that was unveiled 2018 in Tampa, England. So it was not the same. The difference was that the last time it was in software mode. Now they brought the hard copy of the logo to Abuja Airport on that day. The CBD was with the water cannon salute. That aircraft, that aircraft does the water cannon. It was not the first scheduled flight, and not the first airport. So it was not a flight of the Nigeria. It was an Ethiopian Airlines who came on a scheduled flight after operating a scheduled flight on Monday, cleaned out, went in here on Friday. He will return to Addis Ababa on Sunday, and by Monday morning that aircraft was taken from Addis Ababa to Mogadishu. You can imagine the quality of an aircraft Ethiopia Airlines to put on Ethiopia on Mogadishu route. That's what they came to use to display for us. I think it was a sham, and I think it's better let history.
Some people will argue that, look, these facilities, the federal government have not even done well with it, as in that the federal government, then they can't manage this facility that is best in the hands of the private sector. Look at our international airports.
Yeah, I have not, if you listen to my position, I have not said it should remain managed by the federal government. I have asked that the government should call for bid from airport managers, reputable airport management company. Not the one that will go tomorrow morning and go and register with the CAC and win the bid. No. Reputable airport company. The corporation and co op, the Turkish airport company. So airport company come and bid and turn around the management of the federal airport authority of Nigeria. There must 30 to 40 airports, there must 24 airports. And we have to put them material for Bible, and you want to pull them out. How would you guys survive? So then you need to see how you can press the airports are ready with fund now. There's nothing they can do about it. You just have to find a way to manage it. Airports are needed. They might not be profitable in the beginning. They might not be profitable over the first 30 years. But over time, if you plan, your plan is very well. Then you begin to have some profitability. And then for those who are more profitable, there will be less profitable. You cannot see how you can augment. And that's why I say, rather than do the cherry picking of one or two, one to three good airports. Why don't you take the airport to get that? Put the institution is first. It should move from federal airport authority to federal airport company. A company that will have financial statement that will have the books open. And this will encourage investors. This will bring money back to the government. Even as of today, that is even money that the federal government takes 40% of their revenue. So that it has the potential to generate enough funds to make itself viable. But how would it be viable under the government, whereby the minister has direct control? In the last 8 years, the man did not appoint a bunch of directors to manage that organization. He was managing it directly. He was taking out the contract of the and implementing it. And there was no board. Only going to announce a board the day he was leaving. After working for 8 years. So that the governor, who was the government chairman, that's what he did. He was just managing directly. So what I'm saying is that let us get the government airport management commission to come and bid and manage one in the time. Not the terminal, or selected terminal.
Well,
the beneficiaries of the concession, did you have any information about their credibility, the aviation industry?
Their standing.
Their standing. Are they well known? Are they established? And is there the prospect of litigation against the Nigerian government?
If it is reversed.
If it is reversed.
Well, we've always had litigation and we've always had to pay to our note. We paid for an airline that landed on the wrong way, that was being repaired, and the aircraft was damaged to pay. Where you have MMC that we are praising this, those who were supposed to be there before, took government to court. And they got damaged, the one, and the government was supposed to pay. Even MMC today is in court. With the federal airport authority of Nigeria, it has not been resolved, and multiple judgments have been given in favor of MMC. So there are so many litigations within and around the airport and everything that has been possession that has not been resolved. That we also need to resolve before we can attract investors. And that's why I said there's no way you can have the investors come for those airports that the way they were advertised, the way they were moved, except I can tell you those who finally came. While those who are friends and colleagues of the minister are not reputable airport management companies. We do not recognize them as so also I don't think they are I know they will not be stupid not any money yet. And they're just waiting for the government to tell them whether they can move or not. But I can tell you, it's dead on arrival.
Do we have any kind of concessioning arrangement with the Chinese government? I see a new terminal in Lagos, another new terminal in Abuja, built by the Chinese government. What's the nature of that arrangement?
That's another conundrum on its own. A loan was collected under the President Goodluck Jonathan government to build this fourth terminal, and we're going to pay back those loans after over a period of time. But that's to pay back them loans, they're supposed to pay by revenue generated by the airport. But unfortunately, the one in Lagos was not built at the appropriate rate. The airport master plan wasn't followed. And the one wasn't followed.
The one in Lagos?
The one in Lagos, yes. So the airside is not big enough to take the bigger aircraft. Most of the international airlines have refused to go. Beautiful terminal, no doubt, but Mobile is a terminal whereby the airlines are not going there. So you can see that the big airlines are not going there. It's small that are going there. So in order to get enough space for that airport, now they are demolishing other people's investments. The Hangout, they demolish the old AID, DOT, and some other ports have been demolished. Yet they still cannot find that space. Find the solution to that space issue. You see, also when public officials, whether in or out of government, are made to face consequences of the actions of this illegality, this irresponsibility and radicality will continue to be at.
What's the state of the Lagos runway now, the second runway?
Well, it has been opened and the airlines are using it. I think that there's an issue with, I think one of the license and road license, I think they are working. I think that has also been for now, and we have it through.
You were talking about the Ebonyi airport. Have you seen the airport at close quarters?
Well, I've not been to Abakaliki, so I cannot tell you. But what I think is, when a governor brings out money from the part of the city to build an airport, you can't do an airport, you must have a plan. There must be a master plan. There must be a business plan. There must be a reason. When you build and you name it after the former president, you name the airport after the former president, and the same day you said you are not interested in the airport again, that the federal government will take it over. So why did you build it in the first place? Why did you build it in the first place? You have a reason for building the airport. Just because if people are bold enough to go the way Asaba, the federal government did there, they build that, and then the cultural airport, and the airport is running. Bayelsa has built there, and they are managing their own airport. And but the employment, commissioned the airport about 40,000 before he left, and immediately handed over to the federal on the same day. So he had no plan. He had no plan. So now that I'm giving to Fan now, it was not part of Fan's budget. Fan must find some money to manage that airport, pending when they cannot implement the next year's budget. But it was not planned before. Something has become the airport. And these are the problems that come to Fan and everybody keeps blaming Fan when Fan themselves are just like a government agency, they pushed around by the minister and pushed around by the government in power.
A good chunk of the money spent on that airport actually came from the federal government, because he confessed on the day that the airport was inaugurated that at a point he ran out of money, and the president ordered the finance minister to provide funds. Perhaps
was that right? If Ekiti is dealing with their funds, Ogun State is dealing with their funds, why would you bring out money for the state government? Why do you choose states that will fund the airport, while some others who also are struggling with other basic amenities are funding their own airport? Was it the federal government that asked them to go with the airport? So why would they do that? Let us be reckless with our finances. And we're not prioritizing them.
I want to thank you, Olumide Onwayo. I want to thank you for your intervention. We'll take this break. When we come back, we'll discuss more. It's still Journalist Hangout on Sunday. We'll be right back after this time out. Don't go away.
What is better than your view on weekdays? Your view on the weekend. Something special, something more. We have an extra dose of premium television experience. Your Saturday is about to get upgraded with more engagement, information, and special moments.
Let me speak pidgin. English is a problem. Don't see your parents finish. Yes. I don't know another English. Do you want to know by beating?
Join us from Saturday, the 15th of April, 2023 at 9 a.m. for the weekend edition of Your View. Join the intelligent, dynamic, inspiring, and fearless ladies of Your View as they have the difficult conversation,
the thuggery and intimidation,
breaking down barriers and defining the narrative. Save the date as we count down to the weekend edition of the most exciting talk show on Nigerian television.
It's not your regular show. It's an online interactive session where we share my views on the everyday issues that cut across politics, security, health, current affairs, governance, and so much more. I am passionate about our country. I choose to support any conversation geared towards building a better Nigeria. I am Babajide Kolade Otitoju. Join me every Saturday on TVC News YouTube channel as I discuss Nigeria and the world at large on the show, Issues with Jide.
Thank you for staying with us. It's Journalist Hangout on Sunday. There's no love lost affairs between the resident doctors in Nigeria and the government. Is showing no sign of remedy. Doctors under the aegis of National Association of Resident Doctors have reviewed their demand for salary increase from 200 to 550%. This, to them, is to cushion the negative impact of failed subsidy removal. The doctor said the parameters used in arriving at the demand for a minimum of 200% increase in commerce has significantly changed following the removal of fuel subsidy and attendant rising costs of living. Jide, are we going to see a kind of ripple effect in all sectors? These are doctors now?
Actually, this matter had been there for a long time. Remember, they issued a warning strike, went on a 5-day warning strike, and 7 weeks after the warning strike, they are saying no attempt has been made to talk to them and address their demands. And the demands include payment of outstanding arrears owed members, including hazard allowance, keeping arrears of 2014 to 2016, arrears of consequential adjustment of the minimum wage, immediate payment of 2023 medical residency training fund as contained in the 2023 budget in line with various agreements reached. What they are saying right now is, look, we are extending this ultimatum by another 2 weeks. And if by July 9 nothing is done, then people should expect a strike over government's refusal to review upward the consolidated medical salary structure in line with the letter sent to the minister on July 7, 2022. So this is not exactly new. It's just the result of the former administration's inability to address the demands that had been there since even 2020. You know, they first complained in 2020. They had to fight over the issue of hazard allowance. Okay, government agreed to increase the hazard allowance. My own concern is why we get into negotiations with labor, and then when it's time for us to fulfill our side of the bargain, we start pussyfooting. Up till now, the issues that caused ASU to go on strike, they are still there. And now you've seen that even the IPPIS, that some people wanted to kill themselves over, that ASU must succumb to IPPIS. We have now seen the evidence is in the open that IPPIS itself is a fraud. We've seen that now. So, which means that these guys had a point when they said, no, don't subject us to IPPIS. The industrial court has ruled now that you cannot force ASU to be drawing their salary through the IPPIS. It infringes on their right. Whereas some people, including even some academics who are supporting government blindly, were saying, no, you can't tell your employer how to pay you. But if your employer comes up with a plan that even distorts the academic system, is the employer supposed to be left alone? Because we all know lecturers go on sabbatical and the rest, they go on, they go for research in other universities of the world. Some even come to Nigeria. But the IPPS does not capture such people. And there are lecturers today that I can tell you who had been on research in another university, and for 15 months now they have not been paid. These are issues that when people get up to say they are going on strike, you start abusing them. You will not talk about government, because we have a history of simply addressing issues based on emotions. Solve the problem on ground. Solve the problem. We cannot afford another strike. By these guys, a good number of them have left the country already. If we create a situation in which doctors would always want to go on strike because their demands are not met, including demands that government agreed, because I know this residency thing, I know the role that Gbajabiamila played. And part of what is the problem at that time was that Gbajabiamila proceeded to insert it into the budget. Now, what's inserted into the budget is not paid, and you will expect that they will keep quiet. When they go on strike now, we'll start abusing them. We'll start calling them names. Government has to change its ways. Don't get into negotiation with people and then
not honoring it.
And then say, okay, you are going to do this, you are going to do that, and then turn around to not honor your own side of the bargain. It's not right, it's immoral. Mr. President has not named his ministers, but we expect a minister that will be inversely different to the man that we had to live with for many years as minister, an adversarial labor minister who took joy in fighting labor. Hopefully, that's not the kind of person that the president will bring this time. He will find someone with fantastic negotiation skills who will be able to interface properly with labor, and all of these issues will be a thing of the past. But I don't want to see, I know when you talk about 55% salary increase over fuel subsidy, people usually start bargaining at a high level. At some point, they will find a middle ground. Everyone, even labor has said, give us 200,000
minimum wage.
Where some states can't pay 30,000. You know, I think it's
with 18,
TUC, not TUC. So we have to find a way to ensure that we have industrial harmony, to ensure that strikes are reduced to the BRS minimum.
Wale, how do you address this issue raised by the resident doctors?
I think one thing we should all agree is that the medical, the health aspect is one of the most important sectors in the country, because it has affects almost everybody. A healthy nation is a productive nation. So we cannot joke with health because it's about life and death. They have raised this issue, 2-3 years. It's an ongoing challenge. And if you look at our situation, we have doctors that get probably about 290,000 on the average, general practitioners, between 292,000 to 300,000 per month, up to 1 million. Neurosurgeon, because they are the highest paid. Now, if you compare this with their counterparts in Canada, in UK, in elsewhere in Europe, you discover that the gap is high. The gap is high. So in Canada, for instance, they do get as much as 75,000 USD in 1 year. In UK, about 65,000, and then in US, maybe about 75,000 too. So compare with what our doctors get here. Maybe a neurosurgeon gets about 6 million naira in a year. So compare with the importance of what they do in relation to the health of the country. I think it's low. However, we also need to realize that if we don't pay them what they require, it's something reasonable, they will continue to leave our country. We understand about 5,000 doctors left in the past 5 years. Not only doctors are leaving, nurses, I think about 57,000
training them.
of them.
Training them.
Midwives, combined with nurses, about 75,000 have left. And I think there was a recent... Even pharmacists. There was a recent survey.
What do they call it?
Yeah.
Laboratory
technologists, There was a recent survey that indicated that 85% of Nigerian doctors are anxious to leave the country.
Yes.
And if you look at the ratio of doctors to freshers, in fact, from final year, they're already looking up to leaving the country,
exams.
Going to UK, going to even Ghana, going to Saudi Arabia, UAE, and all that. And if you look at the average, average one doctor to, we have about one doctor to 10,000 people. In some countries, in some states in the north, average of one doctor to 45,000. So experts are saying that we still need about 363,000 doctors to meet up with our demand. We have only 24,000 now. Out of these 24,000, some are not even practicing. Some are into politics, some are into consultancy. So we don't have enough doctors. We must do everything possible to ensure that we keep them to stay in this country. However, given the reality of our economy, I think they are asking for 550% increase or thereabout. That would be about almost 2 million per one doctor. Are we in a position to pay that, given the reality of our economy? So I think the government should sit down with them, negotiate in a very honest, transparent, and decisive manner, and increase that salary within the scope of what the federal government can accommodate. I don't think 550 is realistic if you look at what is going on in the country. But I think we should negotiate.
A starting point.
Yes, a starting point, so that we can have a situation where these doctors will not continue to leave this country, as they are doing at present.
The turnover is ridiculous.
It's worrisome. Yes, although
it's easy for us to train them. We train, but
it's very cheap to train them here. It's very cheap, and that's why it's painful. And the doctors that we train here, yes, they are subjected to some examination even outside, but they still excel. They still excel.
Pass the conversion exam.
So we do not have enough medical colleges like the Indians, for example. The medical colleges that we have are not enough. Even when you combine private universities with public universities, they are not enough to meet demand. A good number of our doctors are in the tertiary medical centers. They are not in the
primary health centers.
Yes, because
we don't have them.
You have to incentivize
for
doctors staying in the rural area,
local governments.
A lot of what kills our people are preventable.
Access to this health care.
If there is access to Medicare, these things are preventable. Malaria that kills so many people. It's preventable. You know? So when you look at our country in terms of doctor to patient ratio, we are the worst. Yet we keep losing doctors. You can argue that the Indians too, that their doctors are migrating abroad. You know, Egypt, where a good number of rich Nigerians actually go to for Medicare. Their doctors too are refusing to stay, despite the fact that the Egyptians came up with a law mandating you to first, upon graduation, to first go and work in a public health institution for 3 years. It has not stopped them from leaving. So it's like the advanced countries of the world have descended on the third world countries. What is happening to us is happening to other third world countries. They want the best that you have. Look at a country like Canada, for example. Once you are a skilled laborer, they want you. They want you. Germany, the same thing. Because the workforce in Germany is aging. So they don't mind bringing people from the Arab world, bringing people from Nigeria and other places to come and work in their companies. And the economy is doing very well. It's the most advanced country in Europe. So we can't stop people from economic migration, but we can at least reduce the rate at which these people are living. And one of the ways by which we can do that is to pay them promptly. We still have a situation in which state universities are owing doctors. So they can't manage, they can't fund state universities, but they are setting up state universities. Now they are owing doctors. Up to 5 months salary, you are owing medical doctor. If you owe a medical doctor up to 5 months salary, are you not endangering the lives of patients? Because a medical doctor that is not in the right frame of mind, and you tell him to go and look after people, something is wrong with our leaders. You can't owe that category of workers. It makes no sense. It's part of the demands that they made that, look, in private, in state universities, our colleagues are being owed. Address the problem. It's part of their demands. So what has been done? If you leave workers' demands unattended to, then you are creating a fertile ground for industrial disharmony. And what is industrial disharmony? It's still strike at the end of the day. We don't want to see that strike happen. I hope that the new administration, although there are ministers yet, at least at the level of PAMSEC, the ministries, they need to ensure that this strike that they are threatening us will happen from July 19 does not happen. Government has to be responsible. They've got to stop this strike from happening.
All right. For the embattled UTME candidates, Mesoma Ejikeme, the bubble has finally burst. Mesoma has admitted to a panel of independent investigators set up by the Anambra State government that she forged her 2023 UTME results. In her submission, she confessed in the presence of her principal and the education secretary that the narration by JAMB officials is true. She also admitted to have manipulated the result by herself, unaided. Meanwhile, former Minister of Education, Obi Ezekwesili, said she is satisfied with the manner JAMB handled the matter. She also said the she supports the sanction imposed by JAMB on Mesoma, urging parents to help ensure examination integrity while the saga raged on. Babajide and other guests on Journalist Hangout insisted during discussion on the issue that there was foul play on the part of Mesoma. Let's share those moments with you. This is quite scandalous. This is the first time I'll be seeing something like this. This is the first time. It is another dimension. Because if the state government, if they were not as meticulous, you know,
I'm just disappointed the extent to which now what JAMB needs to do is to set the record straight, announce to us the person who scored the highest. Let us even know who scored the highest. JAMB has been doing this for years. I think JAMB has served the country so well that we should be able to trust JAMB in matters like this. You know, and if JAMB says, look, you didn't score this mark, I don't think anybody has any reason.
My fear is this: if they cut this one based solely on the redesign of the form, imagine the number of people who have gotten away with this. That means there's a cabal somewhere who are specialized in this for the right amount.
And a school is not likely to discover this one. Who is not likely to easily discover this one. JAMB has been in this situation before when people one even threatened to go to court. Asking for 2 billion naira. In the end, when the facts were presented, he started begging. He didn't want to go to jail. So, sensible people should be careful about backing someone when you don't have the facts. This has nothing to do with ethnicity. And you want to rubbish a whole institution. The person who scored the highest scored 360, not 362. And that person is from Anambra State. So this has nothing to do with ethnicity. What really is the situation? Is this clearly a case of forgery? And what pieces of evidence do you have to show that this is a cast iron case of forgery?
Okay, good. Thank you very much. First of all, let me make this very clear that our results are not in the cloud. And because they are not in the cloud, so the issue of forgery, the issue of hacking this thing does not even arise. That's why you will never hear where somebody will say JAMB website or whatever has been hacked. But even that, what this candidate is parading is not any result that she got from the cloud. This candidate paid 1,500 naira and printed her original result. But she's not showing anybody. She does not think that we will know. On the 25th of June, she had also paid money and printed the original result again. Well, before the result was released, she sent a message to pull the result, and he told her clearly that your result is not ready yet. When the result was ready, she sent a message again. He sent her result of 249. You know what she did? She now edited that result and put 362 and sent back to the USSD code. If you look at her result that I've shared, you will see that her date of birth is 2nd April 2004. But on the slip that she's parading, the date of birth is 2nd March 2004. That is the date of birth of the candidate that she's using the slip. This thing has nothing to do with our database. The candidate just forged this slip and she's just misleading people. If you look at the video that she's parading, you will see that some people are telling her what to say. Yeah. It's the same candidate that said that I don't have to. 1.6 million candidates at the 2023 examination. Only one candidate is having a different template of result. How come? Only one candidate.
Those saying that JAMB should review its processes, they are just looking for excuse. So, the enemies of Nigeria are always looking for an excuse. This girl today admitted that when she sent a message to JAMB, that JAMB replied that she scored 249. Yeah. So she has to tell us where she got the 362 that she's going around with.
People should not post sentiment. She must be made to face the full wrath of the law. People cannot do things, and then when things, one of the problems we have in Nigeria, when somebody has committed a fraudulent act, instead of us to accuse the person that what you have done is wrong, we try now to bring ethnicity and nonsense thing to try to justify it. That lady is a crook. The lady was a very good actor. Somebody that have now acknowledged that she's got 249. But she did a presentation and she was saying, oh, she's traumatized. Oh, this. Yeah, and somebody was trying to coach her what to say.
Why should it be difficult for Nigerians to know that this girl is a scamster?
No, of course. It's obvious. It's obvious that the girl is just an actor and a crook.
About investigation, how? JAMB has concluded the investigation. What do they want to investigate? All the facts that you need, are available. Some of the people backing Ms. Yoma and talking about the need for independent investigation, people like Ezekwesili, they are hoping in their hearts that an investigation will come up with a smoking gun. How? They will wait forever. How? Because this truth is already self-evident. There is no investigation again that can yield the contrary. The facts are clear. What this girl and her backers don't know is that even their call logs, their phone conversations are recorded. If they are not careful, evidence will be provided with the transcripts that will show how they planned and executed this abominable crime. You can sit, you can write all kinds of things. The truth is the truth. And the truth is that this is a clear case of forgery.
JAMB is not stupid. And Professor Oloyede is smarter than them. He said, if Anambra government lies, let them set up a 20-man professor to come and investigate Mesoma's matter. He has concluded the investigation and he has banned Mesoma for 3 years. And you could see the way the girl was talking, say, I'm innocent, I've always been coming first from primary school. We should go the line of Chidoka, that Mesoma, the father and the mother, should come and apologize to JAMB so that we Nigerians can help her lead.
Mesoma Saga shall know the truth and the truth shall set you free. We're on this case from Monday and we treated it all through Sunday to Friday, and we can now see that, look, this is like a final. We've gotten the final word of it. We don't need any DSS investigation or anything again. Everything is out.
The House of Reps was wasting his time.
Yes, you said it.
And if
that there are other important things in the country that they can set up committee for and everything.
Let me remind you what happened many years back. Jackson was a columnist for Vanguard. Probably the best columnist I've ever seen. And he had this encounter with Sam Akpabot. Akpabot was also a columnist. A musicologist who was writing about football, was good at predicting football games. And Jackson said, look, to keep Akpabot busy, let us give him the National Philharmonic Orchestra to be the conductor. He got angry. What kind of insult is this? There are times when our lawmakers behave like they don't have so much to do. When they were giving themselves one whole week, I was scandalized. This is not something for you to get involved in. We always crave for our institutions to be strong. JAMB tried to be strong. JAMB tried to protect examination integrity, and you turned against them. Lawmakers behaving like other people on social media.
Of being the judge, the lawyer, and the arbiter in their own case.
Oh, okay. Get into Unilag now with a fake result and expect that Unilag will wait for an independent committee before sending you packing. I went through university. I saw people that were sent packing in the 3rd year.
Immediately.
That was the time when they discovered analog. They brought fake.
It will take them years to go and confirm the result. But they'll confirm it. And when they confirm final year, most of the time.
I said 3rd year. 3rd year, you can imagine you wasted money. So why didn't University of Ilorin that did such a thing during my time? Why didn't they wait for an external body? When you say you want to write JAMB, there are rules and regulations, and the consequences of not complying are made clear to you.
It's all on their website.
Why should Why should a body, having done its findings and found cast iron evidence that this person was involved in forgery, then need to wait for
DSS?
I mean, DSS and then
and House of Reps.
You know, I said it. I said there is no probe that can yield anything different, and that's what happened. They were just wasting their time. Idle people. No probe. When the evidence is as apparent as daylight, you are still calling for probe. The reason they were calling for probe, we know. It has nothing to do with their commitment to fairness and equity. No. It's no. Either they don't like the government of the day, and some of them, including APC turncoats, now see every organ of government, every agency now, because they don't like the man who is there, that agency has
lost its credibility.
People kept talking because they listened to some misguided people on TV, people who do not know their left from their right, and they will start harping on it. People are saying, oh, is it not the same jam where snakes swallowed money?
That's not under Oloyede's watch.
Who discovered it? Was it not Oloyede? Who arranged for the prosecution of the person? Was it not Oloyede? Because somebody swallowed money and lied against snake, you are now using that to rubbish
operations of JAMB.
Not looking at the fact that JAMB decided to deal with the person who has done it, expose the person publicly, and put the person on trial. You are not talking about that. You keep talking about a matter that JAMB has dealt with sufficiently. JAMB is a Nigerian pride. JAMB conducts examination for DSS, for police, and so many government and non-government agencies. We cannot, the rest of us can't sit here and
pass through the process.
Allow some people to destroy just the image and integrity of JAMB because of a certified forger.
Personal interest.
And it's clear. How can you see evidence and still be going against evidence? You wanted, somebody was still waiting for DSS. So
yes.
We had some of them saying, oh, are you sure the girl was not forced?
Some are still lying that she's 16.
Despite the fact that the father came on air, they asked the father gave the age. You are not the one who gave birth to the girl. Yet, you want to claim to know the age more than the father. The age, the 16 years, is the age of the person whose result she used. Whose result she used as background paper, where she typed her own fake result. And she went outside as even mentioning the business center where she printed the paper. So what do you want again? What do you want?
Well, this story is a reflection of, you know, who we are. For just interest, we thank Innocent Motors. They've retracted. They've retracted. They said that yes, the scholarship will be withdrawn, and Obi Ezekosili seen the truth, and she has expressed her
Obi is even saying that the punishment that JAMB instituted, that JAMB must punish her. That's what Obi is saying. Yes. Obi has seen the light.
Yes.
And when you see the light shall set you free. The light is like the truth. The truth shall set you free.
Okay, let me quickly pick this call from England. Jason is calling us from England. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ayo, and thank you, Jide and the other gentlemen there. You know what, on this issue of JAMB, I just want to say very quickly that this lady, I call her a young lady, she's not above the criminal sanction. So in my view, that act itself casts doubt on the honesty of our nation, as well as the morality of the people in our nation. Where do we go from here? I believe there is no point of any further investigation. She should face the sanction, and the sanction has already been imposed by JAMB. I understand 3 years ban on air. So, in my view, that is the end of the matter. We should stop overflogging this matter. We should stop reporting this matter. This is giving her fame, unnecessary fame. Be some sanction which will be what I would call an example for people like her who may think of doing the same thing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jason. This is not the first time Jam will be recording something like this. They have records.
We are not over-reporting.
Yes. I think
the report came out yesterday. We are talking about that's not
the
journalists.
And another panel that was set up by Anambra State government was submitted.
No, I think it's important to constantly remind our younger people. And that is why, if this has happened, even in UK, where it's coming from, for the next 1 year, they might be debating it.
Yes, they'll be talking about it.
It's a major issue. It's not something you can just sweep over like that.
The report came out yesterday. People are talking about it.
Yes.
They are saying they are
so I think
we have not even started. We are bringing the jam.
I think in this case, it was like when you catch a rat in the head. There's just no way to escape. The evidence too overwhelming. The lady also changed the center. In printing her research, she made a mistake of a Kemafunan Foundation Center. She put it to Thomas Chidoke Center, whereas that name had changed before. You know, that kind of thing. So it shows that no matter how smart you think you are, if you are not honest, it still will catch up with you. And I think that's the lesson our younger people need to learn. For those who want to politicize it, it's very unfortunate. We should, irrespective of the challenges we have in this country, we must learn to protect the heritage of our society because the whole world is watching. And for those who want to ethnicize it, two categories of people. There are some who felt, because this lady is an Igbo person, she does nothing wrong. There are also those who felt that because she's Igbo, she must be brought down. So both are, committing serious errors. This guy does nothing to do with. This guy does not reflect the civilization of the Igbo people. Look at the Anambra State government. They come up, they set up a panel. It's Anambra State government, Professor Soludo. And he came out with a report that indicted the girl. And even the Anglican Girls Secondary School, the principal, is located in Anambra State. They indicted the girl. I went to UN and I know that there was a lecturer, I think Professor Ekiti. We had a report that as our own daughter, our own wife, that environment 101, science 101, very difficult course. You must pass it before you move to the next. Our own wife took that, exam, and he failed our own wife 3 times. UNN. So when you look at people say, Igbo and this and all that, this stereotyping must stop. And for those who also think that because she's Igbo, we must defend her, they are destroying the Igbo culture and civilization. So we must, when something is bad, we must speak with one tongue. There are also rogues. 1.6 million rogues, 419, who think that, she's smart, she must come into their own club. They are destroying the heritage of that family. Because at the end of the day, even those who are saying that crime is right, at one day, time or the other, they will pay for it. There are also people that are ridiculously ignorant. One popular musician was saying we should call external examiner. I read it on Facebook. Famous person, from his name is Charlie Boy. That we should call external. I said, did this one go to school at all? Because JAMB is not marked by your school. External examiner will mark JAMB, not even teachers from Anglican Girls Secondary School. So JAMB is a product of external examiners. So what are you talking about? So I felt so bad that people could be outrightly, ignorant about something that is so straightforward. But I think that there should be sanctions for the fact that some politicians are criminals. It's not a justification for people to commit crime. Yes. We need to say that if something is bad, it is bad. You can't say because somebody has stolen goat, they catch you. They say, what of that person that stole goat yesterday? What of this man that came from Ghana to what is bad? It's bad. Rubbish. And we must help our society to move forward. If we really want a society that is decent and that commands global respect. This girl needs to pay for what she did. Though she has apologized now. But I think, somehow we need to send messages to our young people.
Is it because of the social media frenzy that we will now think that a crime for which 7 years in prison is prescribed, an apology will simply wipe it clean? No, now you can't build a society like that. That's why when I saw people going to beg the Britons that don't jail Kweremadu, that is not how their society is. That's not how their society is run. We've seen in other lands presidents jailed. Israel jailed a former prime minister. In our country, if it happens, that person is not likely to go to jail. And if you try to jail him, people will raise hell, say all kinds of things. One thing that we have to say here is that the just has been vindicated. The truth is by nature self-evident, and the truth always triumphs. If we choose not to work against the truth, to side falsehood, shame will eventually be your lot. But if you side with the truth, you may not make money. The world may turn against you, but you'll be vindicated in the fullness of time. This is what we have seen with this girl. People called us names, they abused us, they said all kinds of things. Even till today, they are still abusing us. We know that those ones don't have home training. We can't complain when somebody that is not well bred.
We saw the video of the father
calls you this. But the father too has apologized. He said he didn't know.
That is the same thing.
But again, that is not what you tell the law court.
Yeah, no, it's not.
Oh, I didn't know that.
No,
nobody. Now, once an offense is committed, just as Obi Ezekwesili said, actions have consequences. Obi Ezekwesili wants us to believe that she likes examination integrity. Now, you can see she's saying, punish her, the way JAMB wanted to punish her. And I believe that JAMB will stand firm on this matter. Even if the whole of Nigeria says no. You cannot, just as Fabian said, look, we could have called for a prosecution, which will lead to 7 years in jail. But JAMB is not pressing charges. JAMB is just saying, we ban you for 3 years. I think that is at least good enough. It's lesson learned, you know. But the girl, if she at 19, she's not a small girl. I keep repeating it. Or Motola Jalade Kende, her first child came when she was just 19. So they should not tell us that 19 is a minor. The age 16 is not our own age. It's the age of the person whose result sheet she used. So at 19,
internet warriors.
Since she could sit down and shoot a video, she should be able to shoot a video and tell Nigerians that, look, I let you down, forgive me. Yeah. She let down a great school. Because I've heard people talk about the Anglican school. It's a mission school. And we've seen another girl from a mission school become the real MVP.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
In the past, JAMB best scorers don't even get attention. By her own act of forgery, that girl that actually came first, the world now knows her. And she's the one that will be celebrating. We'll celebrate her. You know? Because she didn't have to forge. Our own result is standing in this manner. That of Mesioma is standing like this. Nobody needs to tell you, if you don't have a problem, that was a forged. Then of course, a lot of people have problems. So we are not surprised that they were trying to put down an agency just to defend a girl guilty of aberrant behavior. A girl that has already begun to show the world that at her age she's a criminal. That's what we've seen. Since she said she did it alone, so she's a sole criminal. And she has to pay for it.
So, above all, we'll still be hearing from Professor...
Yes. We are coming back from Namibia.
Yes, so we know we'll be able
what JAMB will do.
Yes, that agency, you know, attempt was made to rubbish that agency.
Yes, that agency has a good reputation.
Yes,
in the past
failed.
Not education with culture. You know, our people should not think that, you know, manipulation can get you anywhere. No. It's not going to get you anywhere.
Most of us went through.
And those planning to rig JAMB results again, you will be caught the same way that Mesioma was caught. And you will be given the same quantity of shame that Mesioma is getting.
Wale Adeyi, I want to thank you for your contribution. The master himself, Baba Jide Kolade Otitoju.
Thank you.
Thank you for another edition. And that's our offering today. Join us tomorrow for the regular episode of Journalist Hangout at 5 p.m. You can watch the repeat broadcast of this episode tonight at 11:30 p.m. We're on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Ayodele Uzubakun. Bye for now.
Never miss a moment. Instant breaking news from all over the globe. Live streaming of your favorite programs delivered directly to you. Watch anytime from anywhere on your mobile or smart devices. Download the TVC News app today. Available on Google Play and Apple Store.
In the month of July, on the 2nd of July, the global community celebrates World Sport Journalists Day. The 5th of July is the first anniversary of the Kuje prison attack when some Boko Haram insurgents escaped. The 7th of July marks 25 years since the winner of the June 12, 1993 presidential election, MKO Abiola, died. His death occurred in 1998. 11th of July is World Population Day, while 15th is World Youth Skills Day. On the 17th, attention is turned to World Day for International Justice, while 18th of July is Nelson Mandela Day to honor the former South African leader. 25th of July is the World Diaspora Day, and on the 28th, the World Hepatitis Day is commemorated, as well as the World Nature Conservation Day. On the 29th of July, President Bola Tinubu will mark 2 months in office. And the 30th of July is World Day Against Trafficking in Persons. Brace up and tune in to TVC News for in-depth analysis and reports. TVC News, first with breaking news.